If you're a woman in your 70s or 80s, and you're still able to do the things I'm about to share with you, then I want you to know something from the bottom of my heart. You are rare. You are not just surviving, you are thriving. And that is something to be incredibly proud of. You see, too often in today's world, women like you are overlooked. People rush past you in the grocery store, speak over you at the doctor's office, or forget that you were once the center of a family, a workplace, a community. But here's the truth. You have not lost your value. You have not lost your voice. In fact, if you are still able to move through your day with strength, make decisions with wisdom, and show love with tenderness, then you are still shaping the world around you, whether you realize it or not. Today, I want to walk beside you, gently and honestly, through 8 simple things. If you are still doing any of these, even just one, it means you are far stronger, far more alive, and far more important than the world often gives you credit for. And maybe no one has told you this lately. So, let me be the one to say it. You are still needed. You are still powerful. And yes, you are still beautiful. Let's begin. 1. You take care of yourself without help. Let's begin with something many people take for granted: being able to care for yourself. If you can still wake up in the morning, make your bed, brush your hair, prepare your own meals, and move around your home without assistance, you are not just doing okay. You are exceptional. Because the truth is, many women in their 70s and 80s quietly begin to lose these abilities. Their joints ache, their energy fades, their independence slips away one small task at a time. But if you are still doing your daily routines, even slowly, even imperfectly, you are holding on to something powerful: your dignity. And I want you to hear this clearly. Taking care of yourself is not just about staying clean or organized. It's about honoring your life. It's about showing yourself that you are still worth the effort, because you are. Sometimes, as women, we spend decades caring for everyone else. We raised children. We supported our husbands. We worked jobs. We juggled responsibilities with no time for ourselves. And now, in this stage of life, there's a quiet strength in being able to simply say, I can still do this. I still have control over my day. Taking care of your health, eating balanced meals, staying active, staying clean, it might sound small, but it is the foundation of your freedom. It allows you to live in your own home, follow your own schedule, and not feel like a burden to anyone. And I know, no woman wants to be a burden to her children. That fear can sit quietly in the back of your mind. But what you may not realize is that every little thing you do for yourself is a gift, not just to you, but to your family. When you take care of your health, you give your loved ones peace of mind. You show them that their mother or grandmother is still strong, still standing. There is a beauty in this kind of independence. You are not proving anything to the world. You're simply honoring the life that has carried you through so much already. Every wrinkle, every ache, they tell a story. And yet, here you are, still moving forward. So if you got up this morning and fixed yourself breakfast, if you got dressed and took a short walk, if you washed your own dishes and tidied your own space, don't let that pass unnoticed. Celebrate it. You are doing better than you think, and I am proud of you. 2. Your mind is still sharp. Now let's talk about something just as important as physical health: your mind. If your memory is still working well, if you can keep track of appointments, remember phone numbers, or make decisions with clarity, that is a gift. And if you can look at people and know when something feels off, if you can sense when someone's not being honest, or when a deal sounds too good to be true, that's not just wisdom. That's power. You see, Growing older doesn't mean growing confused. There's a difference between playing along and truly not understanding. And if you still have that sharp awareness, that ability to think clearly, ask questions, and protect yourself, you are far ahead of the curve. Unfortunately, many women fall into traps as they get older: scams, manipulation, false promises. Some strangers show up pretending to offer friendship or free gifts, only to pressure you into buying expensive products or giving away personal information. And too many elderly women lose thousands of dollars to these tricks, not because they aren't smart, but because someone played on their loneliness or trust. But not you. If you are still asking questions, if you're skeptical of offers that sound too good, if you still read the fine print or listen to your gut, you are doing exactly what you should. Don't let anyone make you feel foolish for being cautious. That caution has protected you, and it will continue to. And there's more to a sharp mind than just avoiding scams. A sharp mind also means you know how to talk to people, how to hold your ground, and how to speak with love when needed. It means you are still growing, still engaging with the world, still thinking deeply. You might not be using the latest technology. You might forget a name here and there. That's okay. That's human. What matters is that you still know who you are. You know what matters. You know what to say and when to say it. So if your mind is still clear, still curious, still active, hold on to that. Protect it. Feed it with reading, conversation, puzzles, learning new things, and staying involved in life. Because your thoughts still matter. Your opinion still matters. And your voice, it still carries weight. You may not be 20 years old anymore, but you are still wise, alert, and aware. And in this world, that is rare. You are rare. And I hope you feel proud of that. 3. You manage your finances on your own. Let's talk about something people often avoid: money. If you are a woman in your 70s or 80s, and you can still handle your finances, pay your own bills, track your expenses, manage your bank account, then you are doing something powerful. And it's not just about the dollars and cents. It's about freedom. It's about not having to ask anyone for permission to live your life. For many women of your generation, money was something managed by husbands, fathers, or someone else entirely. And yet, here you are, balancing your checkbook, paying your property taxes, deciding how and when to spend your savings. That is no small thing. And yes, even if you live on a fixed income, even if your monthly budget is tight, the fact that you are able to manage it yourself speaks volumes about your strength. You're not depending on your children. You're not handing over control. You're staying in the driver's seat of your life, even if the road looks a little different now. Of course, there's no shame in needing help. If your children occasionally assist you with big decisions, or if a trusted person gives advice, that's okay. What matters is that you're still leading the conversation. You're still choosing what to do with what you have. And that choice? That's power. Some women feel guilty spending money on themselves in later life, especially if they think it takes away from what they should leave behind. But I want you to hear this clearly. You've already given your family so much. You've given time, energy, care, love, and, in many cases, your youth. You have every right to use your money now in ways that bring you peace, comfort, or even joy. Maybe that means buying fresh flowers once a week. Maybe it means keeping the heat a little warmer in winter. Maybe it means traveling, or taking a class, or treating yourself to a good meal. These aren't luxuries. They're little ways of saying, my life still matters. And if you've managed to hold on to your own home or maintain your financial independence without needing to move in with your children, that's something to be deeply proud of. Not because you've done it alone, but because you've done it with wisdom, patience, and long-term thinking. You're not a financial burden. You're not a helpless elder. You're a capable, thoughtful woman who continues to manage her life, her way. So the next time you write a check or check your balance, I want you to smile. Because whether the number is big or small, what matters is that you are still in control. 4. You communicate well with your children. Now let's talk about one of the most emotional parts of aging, our relationship with our children. If you are in your 70s or 80s and you are still able to talk with your children, share thoughts, laugh together, or even disagree without arguments, you are doing something many people struggle to do at any age. It's not always easy. Your children are grown now. They have lives, families, careers, stress. They are often rushing, busy, distracted, and sometimes it might feel like they don't have time for you anymore. That can be painful. But if you've managed to maintain open, respectful communication with them, even if it's just through the occasional phone call, text message, or Sunday dinner, that's something to be proud of. So many older parents fall into the trap of repeating the past, telling stories their kids have heard 100 times, giving advice that no one asked for, or criticizing things they don't understand. And when that happens, their children pull away, not out of anger, but out of emotional fatigue. But if you've learned to speak in a way that invites connection, rather than conflict, if you ask about their lives, listen without judgment, and offer support without control, then you are doing something rare and beautiful. You've become not just a parent, but a safe place. And let's be honest, it's not always fair. You were there for them for years, through scraped knees, broken hearts, sleepless nights. It's normal to want that same care in return. But sometimes, life doesn't return our love in the same shape we gave it. That doesn't mean your love was wasted. It means it's part of something bigger, the legacy you've built. If your children still come to you for advice, if they still share their burdens or tell you about their day, then you've created something most people long for: emotional trust. And trust is built on patience, empathy, and a willingness to grow, even as an elder. It's also okay if your relationship isn't perfect. If there are misunderstandings, distance, or even old pain, healing is still possible. A letter, a kind word, an apology. These small steps can change everything. You don't have to fix the past. You just have to open the door to something new. So if you are still connected to your children, not through control, but through care, not through guilt, but through grace, then you are nurturing one of the most important parts of growing older: meaningful relationships. You're not here to lecture. You're here to love. And love, given gently and without conditions, is the most powerful form of communication we have. 5. Your partner is still by your side. Let's take a moment to talk about something tender: your partner. If your husband is still with you, and you've grown older together through the seasons of life, through the joyful times, the difficult days, the ordinary mornings, then you are holding a love that many women never get to keep this long. Growing old with someone is not just about sharing a roof. It's about sharing memories. It's about knowing how the other takes their coffee, remembering the way they used to laugh when they were young, and seeing the lines on their face that match the lines on yours. It's about knowing someone so well that words are sometimes unnecessary. But let's be honest, it's not always romantic. After 50 or 60 years, love starts to look different. It's no longer flowers and long walks. It might look like making dinner while he watches the news. It might look like waiting patiently at a doctor's office. It might even look like silence, the kind of silence that holds a lifetime of trust. That kind of love is rare. It is deep. And if you still have it, hold it close. Now, maybe your partner isn't as strong as he once was. Maybe you've taken on more of the responsibilities. Maybe you feel like you do more than your share. But even in the imbalance, There is something to cherish. You're still together, and that togetherness means something sacred. And for those of you walking this path alone, maybe you've lost your spouse. Maybe you were never married. Maybe you divorced. Let me say this to you gently. Your journey is just as valid. You've survived heartbreak. You've rebuilt your life. You've stood strong in your solitude. That takes a kind of courage most people can't even imagine. Whether you are partnered or on your own, what matters most is this. You still carry love. The way you speak, the way you care for others, the way you show up, day after day. That is the essence of partnership. It doesn't have to come in the form of a marriage to be meaningful. But if you do still have your original partner by your side, even if the passion has faded, even if the routine feels dull, don't overlook the beauty in that shared life. You've stayed when it was easier to leave. You've forgiven. You've grown. And you've loved, not perfectly, but faithfully. So when you sit beside your husband tonight, even in silence, remember, that moment, that companionship, it's not small. It's the kind of love that lasts. 6. You still love to learn and navigate the world. Now, let's talk about something that keeps you young. Curiosity. If you are still learning, still asking questions, still willing to try new things, you are defying one of the biggest myths about aging. Because learning isn't just for the young. It's for anyone who wants to stay alive in spirit. Maybe you've picked up a new book lately. Maybe you've learned how to use your smartphone, even just for texting or looking up the weather. Maybe you've figured out how to pay a bill online, use video calls to see your grandkids, or even navigate an unfamiliar grocery store without feeling overwhelmed. These things might seem ordinary, but they're not. Every time you adapt to something new, a new app, a new recipe, a new bus schedule, you are proving to the world that older doesn't mean outdated. It means resilient. And no, you don't need to become a tech expert. You don't need to join every class or know every trending topic. But the fact that you're open to learning, that you haven't shut down your mind to new things, that makes you truly special. Because what really keeps the mind sharp is engagement, curiosity, asking, "What does that mean?" or "Can you show me how that works?" It's refusing to say, "I'm too old for that." Instead, you say, "Show me. Let me try." And sure, it can feel frustrating. Learning something new at this stage in life can feel like trying to write with your left hand, but you do it anyway. You try, you ask, you practice. And that effort, even if it's messy, keeps your brain alive. More than that, it keeps your confidence alive. When you know how to do basic things for yourself in this ever-changing world, whether it's reading a prescription label, understanding a news headline, or finding your way to a new doctor's office, you feel more in control. Less afraid, more rooted. And there's something else. When you keep learning, you inspire the younger women around you, your daughters, your granddaughters, your neighbors, to never stop growing. You teach by example. You show them that age is not a limit. It's an invitation to become even more fully yourself. So, whether you're taking a class, watching documentaries, reading poetry, or just asking your grandson how his favorite app works, keep going. Keep learning. Because every time you learn something new, you light a new spark inside yourself. And trust me, that light still shines bright. 7. You have hobbies that bring you joy. Let's talk about joy. Not the big dramatic kind, but the quiet joy that comes from doing something just for yourself. Something that has nothing to do with money, or obligations, or being productive. Something you simply enjoy. If you still have a hobby, something that makes the hours pass like minutes, then you are holding one of the greatest secrets to aging well. Maybe it's knitting, or gardening, or painting. Maybe it's doing crossword puzzles at the kitchen table with a hot cup of coffee. Maybe it's singing softly while you do the dishes. It doesn't have to be loud or impressive. It just has to be yours. The truth is, many women lose themselves in the years of caregiving, sacrifice, and routine. Somewhere between raising children, supporting a husband, working, and keeping a household running, your own interests were pushed to the side. But if you've reclaimed them, if you found little pockets of joy that are just for you, then you are doing more than staying busy. You're nourishing your soul. And if you haven't found that yet, it's never too late. You're never too old to begin. Pick up the pen. Try the watercolor set. Start a new book. Plant a few seeds. Play the piano again, even if your fingers are slower now. This is your time to play. Yes, play. Because play is not just for children. It is for anyone who wants to feel alive. It wakes up parts of your brain that haven't been touched in years. It brings laughter. It gives you something to look forward to, and something to talk about beyond aches and medications. Having a hobby doesn't mean you're trying to fill the hours. It means you still believe your time is valuable. And that belief, it's what keeps loneliness from settling in. Play also brings connection. When you paint or quilt or tend to your roses, you can share that with others. You can show your grandchildren. You can trade recipes or join a small group. You become part of something. And you become someone others want to be around, because your joy is infectious. So if you're still doing what you love, whether it's baking pies, writing poetry, or feeding the birds at your window, hold on to that. You are doing something many have forgotten how to do. You're living with delight. And if you've forgotten what you used to love, maybe it's time to remember. Close your eyes. Think back. What did you once enjoy that you told yourself you were too old or too tired or too late for? Because here's the truth. It's not too late. Not for joy, not for play, not for you. 8. You no longer compare yourself to others. And now, the final chapter. One of the most powerful signs of wisdom, grace, and emotional freedom. You've stopped comparing. If you've reached the point in your life where you no longer look at what others have and feel less, where you no longer measure your worth against someone else's success, beauty, or health, then you have truly come into your own. Comparison is something that steals so much of our peace, even when we don't realize it. It can sneak in when we see another woman with more visitors, more money, a bigger house, a thinner waist, a more involved family. It whispers, "Why not me?" And it leaves behind quiet bitterness. But if you've grown past that, if you've learned to look at your own life, your own story, and say, "This is mine, and I'm proud of it," then you are not only aging gracefully, you are aging wisely. It doesn't mean you don't still feel moments of envy or sadness. That's normal. But you've stopped letting those feelings control you. You've stopped believing the lie that someone else's success means your life was less meaningful. Because you know the truth now. You know that happiness isn't a competition. You know that every woman's story is different, and every path has its own joys, its own losses, its own quiet triumphs. You've learned to be proud of your children, even if they don't call as often as you'd like. You've learned to take pride in your home, even if it's small. You've stopped chasing after more and started appreciating what is. That kind of peace doesn't come from a book or a sermon. It comes from living, from surviving, from losing things and realizing you're still standing. And maybe most importantly, you've stopped being hard on yourself. You've forgiven the younger version of you for her mistakes, her choices, her regrets. You've accepted that you did the best you could with what you knew at the time. That is liberation. You are no longer caught up in trying to be impressive. You're now focused on being present. You've stopped asking, "What do others think of me?" and started asking, What do I think of myself? And when the answer is, I am proud, I am at peace, I am enough, that is when you know you've arrived. So now, if you've listened and found yourself in even just one of these 8 things, I want you to pause for a moment and breathe that in. You are still here. You are still strong. And you are still deeply, deeply needed. You may not hear that often, not from the world, not from your children, not even from yourself. But let me say it clearly, with no hesitation. Your presence still matters. You're not invisible. You're not forgotten. You're not past your prime. You're a woman who has lived. You've endured. You've adapted. You've held families together. And you've survived chapters that would have broken others. And now you deserve peace. You deserve joy. You deserve to feel proud of the woman you've become, not just in your youth, but now in your wisdom. This channel, Wise Elders Insight, was created for you, a space where you are seen, where your story has value, where your voice still echoes. You're never too old to grow, never too old to connect, never too old to be inspired. So if this message touched your heart today, please don't keep it to yourself. Leave a comment below and tell us, which of these 8 things do you still carry with you? Or maybe, what's one thing you're still working toward? Because when you speak, other women listen. When you share, someone out there feels less alone. And if you know another woman, a sister, a friend, a neighbor, who needs to hear this message, send it to her. Share this video. Let her know she's not alone either. We are a generation of women who have been underestimated for too long, but not anymore. Not here. This is your space. This is your voice. This is your time. And you, dear one, you are still shining.